恭敬大德圣体，为此法为境界众生，经传了法轮，教导我们如何疗伤脱死离苦得乐。速战无伤。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss, and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Namo sadanto sucheto ye alahati sanmiao sanputo che. Wu shang shen shen wei miao fa. 百千万劫难遭遇，我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。 Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in a billion eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's class. I believe this is class number 35 on the Medicine Master Buddha Sutra. And I have a pretty interesting class for everyone today. Actually, last week, I thought I had very interesting and very inspiring slides. And I realized that I myself didn't feel very inspired. I don't know why. When I was reading it, it felt really inspiring, but I think I failed to bring that across to the slides. But I hope I didn't affect everyone, and it was just me, because I do find the 10 great vows of a bodhisattva to be, how you say, very, very helpful. And that's what I have for you all today as well. Not the 10 vows, but an explanation of the Pure Land that how shall I put it? It's an explanation of, is a way to understand the Pure Land that was told to me many years ago, but I never took it seriously because I never really took my practice or my ability seriously. But I hope that it took me a while to understand, but I hope that for everyone here joining us today and listening to us on YouTube, it doesn't take you as long. And I'll share that on the upcoming slides. But for now, let's recite Medicine Master Buddha's name first before we go there. Okay, so again, I'm going to put my palms together and invite everyone in joining me. Namo, quelling disasters, lengthening life, medicine master, Buddha. 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 Namo, quelling disasters, lengthening life, medicine Descent Master Buddha Namo, quelling disasters, lending life. Medicine Master Buddha Namo, quelling disasters, lending life. Medicine Master Buddha, Medicine Master does come one. 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 Hello, everyone. Um, do we have any questions before we begin? I know Ron has a question. Ron's question is, why are there 9 grades in the Pure Land? Anyone else? If you know the answer, you can type it in the chat box and share. Anyone else? No? Okay. Let me end this current slideshow and let me create the slideshow for today. Okay. Okay, so what you see in front of you is where we kind of left off after we had finished speaking about Medicine Master Buddha's vows. Okay, just give me a moment while I rearrange my windows so I can see all the notes that I need for today. Okay, so let's recite. We haven't recited the sutra for a long time. So I'm going to put my palms together and recite. That Buddha land has always been completely pure. There are no women, no evil destinies, and no sounds of suffering. The ground is made of Vaidurya, with golden cords lining the roads. The city walls, towers, palace pavilions, studios, windows, and lattice work are all made of the 7 treasures. The merit, virtue, and adornments of this land are identical to those of the Western land of ultimate bliss. Okay. I'm sure some of you, because in the beginning, when we started this whole series of classes on the Sutra, I did something different, which was to talk about practice in the Pure Land first, if you remember. So the issue of no women made some people upset because they say, no, 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 how can this be? How come there are no women? Well, I have a answer for you, or a solution for people who are really, really, how you say, how can I put it? If you really, really want to go to a Pure Land where there are women, I have a solution for you in the next few slides. But until then, okay, for the rest of us who are wondering why it says that there are no women in the Pure Land, because the difference in sex, like having a male and a female, is a false duality that's born out of impurity. So it's in a world of duality. But the Pure Land is beyond. The word pure means is beyond our concept, is beyond duality. So basically, you can say that the concept of gender doesn't really apply in the Pure Land. So to even say that there are males there is kind of, to get attached to the fact that there are the living beings there are only male is also wrong. It's also not right. Yeah, it's because the Pure Land is beyond even male or female. So living beings in the Pure Land are not born out of how you say, like us, where it's kind of defiled. It's not very pure. You have to have intercourse to have for a baby to be to be, how you say, conceived, and then there's a lot of body fluids involved and all that. But in the Pure Land, you're born out of a lotus flower and you just spontaneously appear just like that. So it's very pure, and it's very, very different. There's no pain, there's no fear of death for the mother. Everything's just very nice, very easy. Yeah. And yeah, so that's how I would see the concept of gender. Yeah. And for those of you who are still not satisfied because I don't have a really good answer, well, the Buddha said very clearly that women have the potential for full awakening, just like men. So no difference there whether man or woman. The Buddha doesn't discriminate in that way. And I found a very interesting. There's a bhikkhuni called Soma, and the Mara, the how you say, we call him the demon, but he's like the one of the in fish heaven, Mara. He tries to disturb the bhikkhuni Soma, and then telling her that, oh, she's a woman and she cannot achieve anything because she's a woman. And her reply was, what does womanhood matter? With a mind well restrained, insight unfolds and all things are clearly seen. So she brings it back to the mind, not to it's not a question of gender at all. It's a question of the mind. Okay. All right. I hope that's helpful. Okay. Ron asked, when one is born in the Pure Land, is one a bodhisattva? Um, People feel free to type in the chat box, but short answer, not for sure. Yeah, not for sure. That's why there are different grades of the birth in the Pure Land. Okay, let's continue. Okay, but we're going to talk about Pure Land today. Okay, but in order to be able to understand what the Pure Land is, in order to be able to talk about the Pure Land, we have to understand what is the Pure Land. Okay, so what is the Pure Land? So there's a word in Sanskrit called Buddha Kshetra. What does that mean? It literally means Buddha field. Why am I talking about a Buddha field? Because that's what a Pure Land is. A Pure Land is technically a Buddha field. Okay, so what is a Buddha field? You might ask. Okay, a Buddha field consists of two aspects. Let me see, Bhajana Loka and the Sattva Loka. What are those two things? Okay, a Bhajana Loka is a world that contains the physical or inanimate objects. All right, and what it does is acts as a container for the Sattva Loka. What's a container? When you open, say, a packet of biscuits, you look for a tin or a container that you put the biscuits in, so that the biscuits can stay fresh. That's the Bhajana Loka. The container is the Bhajana Loka. It's a world created by the Buddha that consists of physical objects like a house to contain Sattva Loka. And so what's Sattva Loka? If you are thinking ahead, you would have guessed. A Sattva Loka is a world of sentient beings. So a Buddha's Pure Land consists of two things. Okay, a physical world that's only purpose is to house or to contain us, sentient beings. All right, you got that? Okay, so Bhajana Loka and Sattva Loka. All right. And how does the physical world come about? Okay, or the physical environment? It is the result of a Buddha's merit, knowledge, and vows. And it is created when a Buddha achieves enlightenment in the form of a field, or like a field, for lack of a better word, is a place where the Buddha leads beings to enlightenment. Okay, so that's the official description, the technical description of what a Pure Land is. It's a Buddha field. Okay, any questions so far? All right, if there are, you don't want to speak, you can type it in the chat box. Okay. Okay, there are two types of Buddha fields. Okay, pure and impure. Yes, there are impure Buddha fields. Okay, and impure is in quotation marks. Okay, we'll come to how come there's such a thing as impure Buddha fields? Because Buddhas, by the very nature of a Buddha, is pure. Okay, so let's talk about impure Buddha fields first. An impure Buddha field is a world system, okay, that contains what? The sun and the moon. And this sun and moon, if I understand correctly, uh, it's a different kind of sun and moon. You can't draw a straight line and say it refers to our sun and our moon. This is a slightly different kind of sun and moon. Okay, in this sun and moon, the I think the sun is 50 yojanas in diameter, and then the moon is 49. Whereas in our solar system, the moon is a lot smaller than the sun. So it's a different category of sun and moon altogether. Okay. And then in a impure Buddha field, there's also Mount Sumeru, which means the 8 metallic mountains or circular mountains that surround the world system. And there's also 4 island continents. There's the continent of Jambudvipa, which is located to the north, and this is where we are. We actually right now live in a in Buddhist cosmology. Our continent is known as Jambudvipa, whereas in modern science we have like the African continent, we have the Australian continent, but Buddhist cosmology treats it slightly differently. So we are Jambudvipa to the north, and then there's another continent called Videha, and that's to the east, and then Godaniya, which is to the west, and then there's another continent called Uttara Kuru, which is located in the north. And from what I understand, Uttara Kuru is a very nice place. It's a very pleasant place to be born in. In fact, it's so pleasant that there's no, the Dharma doesn't exist. If you are born in the continent of Uttara Kuru, you don't get the opportunity to learn the Dharma. Okay. And then an impure Buddha field or a world system also contains the Great Lakes, and then contains the heavens, and then contains the realms of humans, animals, ghosts, and the hell realm. Okay, so that's the this list is not exhaustive because I'm not too sure if the higher heavens belong in a Buddha field. I'm quite sure it is, but I can't say for sure. So this is not an exhaustive list. Okay, so now that we've talked about an impure Buddha field, okay, let's go to what a pure Buddha field is. So a pure Buddha field is also known as a pure land, like Amitabha's pure land. There's no realms of animals, hungry ghosts, or hells in there, and which is why in the Amitabha Sutra that we recite in our monastery once every 2 days, it says that the birds that sing the Dharma, it says, are born, they appear through the Buddha's powers and are not reborn sentient beings. That means the birds do not appear there out of their karmic attributes, but are how you say, you could say maybe that, like, if you go to Disneyland and you see all those animatronic robots that they use robots that behave like animals or people, kind of like that. It's created, it's not real. Yeah. And so popular pure lands include, we all know, Sukhavati, which is the pure land of Amitabha Buddha. Sukhavati means full of happiness or bliss. Then there's also the land called Abhirati of Ashobhya Buddha. Abhirati means delight or wondrous joy. And what brings us to today's discussion is Medicine Master Buddha's Pure Land, which is known as Vaidurya Nibasa, which means radiant light of lapis lazuli. Okay, so in today's class, in the beginning, I spoke about how people who are really upset about why there are no women in the Pure Land. Okay, in Amitabha's Pure Land and in Medicine Master Buddha's Pure Land, there's only one gender. Okay, or you can see it as there's no need to worry about gender. Gender is not a required thing because it doesn't serve a purpose. But Interestingly enough, okay, in Ashobya Buddha's land, okay, let me explain what the description of the Ashobya Buddha's pure land is like. It says that it's a land of delight, and it is a total opposite of the suffering that is contained in a normal Saha world, like our current world right now. And it is through Ashobya Buddha's immense merit and compassion that he created his Pure Land. It is located to the east of us, which is the same as Medicine Master Buddha. So throughout history, when they talk about the to the east, sometimes they reference Ashobya Buddha, sometimes they reference Medicine Master Buddha, sometimes they even say that they share the same name. It's all the same. And it is said that in this Pure Land, in Ashobya Buddha's Pure Land, Ashobya Buddha sits on a platform which is sheltered by a huge Bodhi tree, and it's surrounded by rows and rows of palm trees and jasmine bushes. When I grew up, my mom used to plant jasmine trees or bushes, and when they bloom, they smell really, really good. In this Pure Land, the soil is golden in color and it's as soft as cotton. Very nice. And it also has a sun and moon, but the sun and moon cannot compare to the radiance of the Buddha himself. Okay, so let's come to the interesting part. In this Pure Land, there are gender distinctions. There are two forms of beings. There's a female and there's a male distinction of beings. But there's no, because it's pure, there's no physical there's no sexuality involved, either emotionally or physically. Yeah. So what happens is when a man sees a woman or a woman sees a man, what happens instead? They enter into dhyana. They actually enter into meditative concentration, and and it is said that the women in this Pure Land can even get pregnant, but I'm not sure about the rest of the details. Yeah, they don't actually describe that much. If you're interested, you can make a vow to be born in Ashobya Buddha's Pure Land. It's to the east. Okay, you want to get your orientation right, you sit to the east, don't sit to the west, and then you can go find out yourself what it all means. Okay, what else happens in this Pure Land? It's a bit like heaven. They say food and drink appear spontaneously when a person is hungry or thirsty, and it is the optimal environment for Buddhist practice. And if you want to get there, you plant meritorious good roots, you perform meritorious actions, and you dedicate all those to having rebirth in Ashobya Buddha's Pure Land. Okay. So now let me tell you. Okay, so Ron says, I thought Ashobya Buddha and Medicine Master Buddha are the same Buddha. That's what I thought too. Yeah, Ron, I think we are both half right. It won't be wrong to say that they are the same, but it won't be inaccurate to say that they are different either, because there's so much information, and honestly, it doesn't really make that much of a difference in our practice. Yeah, and throughout history, there were, I think, in China, before Medicine Master Buddha became popular, people were really concentrating on Ashobya Buddha, and then it has changed. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, what I wanted to tell you is this. All of you right now are building your Buddha field. Okay. With every thought that you have, with every word that you say, and with every action of your body, you are creating your own Buddha field. All right. When you meet someone, when you interact with someone, you are bringing them into your Buddha field. So you have a choice. Your choice is, what Buddha field are you trying to create? You know, you can choose. Are you actively building a Buddha field that encompasses all living beings? Or are you building a Buddha field that's only for yourself right now? And you are, how you say, kicking out all kinds of people. I don't like this person. You don't want him in your Buddha field. I don't like that person. Or that person has a lot of bad habits. And you act as the gatekeeper. That's the opposite of the Buddhas. The Buddhas, like Amitabha Buddha, actually want you to come to their Buddha land, so that you can be just like them. So when you are out there carrying your Buddha field with you, how big is your Buddha field? How many people can it contain? Or does it only contain you? So you can say that the Buddha field is a reflection of your thoughts, your actions, and your speech all the time. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Okay. To help us understand what that means, I will now turn to, you look at your screen, the Vimalakirti Sutra, because the first chapter of the Vimalakirti Sutra is called Buddha Land. And the Vimalakirti Sutra is, I have to say, one of the most enjoyable. I hesitate to call it my favorite sutra, but it is, because I really like it. But I haven't read it in a while. But it's one of the first few sutras that I read, and it completely made me really confused because I didn't understand what the sutra was trying to say. But it's a really amazing sutra. And what I have for you is some parts of the first chapter called the Buddha Land. Okay. And in this chapter, my understanding of what's going on is the Buddha is teaching us how to build a pure land. So if you've ever like look up at a building, especially now in Malaysia, we have a lot of tall buildings. We have the Twin Towers, which at one time were the tallest in the world. And then now I think they're still building, or they just completed another building, which is even taller. But all around the world, there's this race to, or this, everyone's building really, really tall, like 80, 90, 100 over story skyscrapers. And sometimes I just look up and wonder, how do they do it? You know, so say if you're an architect and you look at a building and you wonder, how do they build a building? Well, now we're looking at a pure land, and we're going to figure out how the Buddha, through the Buddha's instructions, how do we build a pure land? Because remember, you have your Buddha field right now. How you choose to welcome people into your Buddha field is up to you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put my palms together and I'm going to read the slide. This is halfway through the first chapter. So just for some context, there's a person called Jewel Accumulation, and he is referred in the sutra as an elder son. And he brought 500 of his friends to see the Buddha. And when he saw the Buddha and he had the opportunity to speak, he started praising the Buddha, speaking of the virtues of the Buddha. And this is the point where he just finished speaking. Okay, so we are at that point in the sutra. So when the elder son, Jewel Accumulation, finished speaking his praises of the Buddha, this was finished speaking this verse, meaning the verses of his praise of the Buddha. He addressed the Buddha, "World honored one, these 500 elder sons have all generated the intention to achieve Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, or complete perfect enlightenment. We wish to hear of the purity of the countries of the Buddha." What are countries of the Buddha? The Buddha field or the pure lands. "Would the world honored one please explain for the Bodhisattvas the practices by which a land is purified?" Meaning, how do you build a Buddha land? Okay, so these people are pretty advanced. They're not just asking about how do you get reborn in a pure land. They're already thinking about how do you build a pure land. So when someone said that, you are building your pure land right now, I never had that confidence, or I never understood enough of the Dharma to either understand or to accept that. Yeah. But if you look at it another way, when you go to the Pure Land, that's what you're going to do, but properly, you know. So right now is also the opportunity. Whatever you build right now is just going to continue when you're in the Pure Land. So look at it that way. Your practice right now, another way of looking at it is that you are building your Buddha field for the ultimate end. When you not end, for the ultimate goal, when you achieve Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, just like what jewel accumulation is asking the Buddha. When you achieve Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, your Pure Land will spontaneously appear, and then you will welcome beings. But how do you do that? Well, like right now. Okay, so next slide. So the Buddha says, excellent jewel accumulation. You are able to inquire on behalf of the Bodhisattvas regarding the practices by which the Tathagata purified his land. Listen clearly, and consider this well. I will explain for you. At this jewel accumulation and the 500 elder sons listen as instructed. So who is jewel accumulation and the 500 elder sons? All of us right now. Okay, we should all listen to what the Buddha has to say. Okay, so next slide. So the Buddha said, jewel accumulation, the categories of sentient beings are the Bodhisattva's Buddha lands. Why is this? Bodhisattvas acquire the Buddha lands according to the sentient beings they convert. They acquire the Buddha lands according to the sentient beings they discipline. They acquire the Buddha lands according to what country sentient beings need to enter into the Buddha's wisdom. They acquired the Buddha lands according to what country sentient beings need to generate the roots for becoming bodhisattvas. Okay, so the last one partly answers Ron's question. Okay, let's go through this again. Okay, the Buddha said the categories of sentient beings are the bodhisattvas' Buddha lands, meaning that's why you are they create the Pure Land for all the different categories of sentient beings to accommodate the different sentient beings. Okay. So the Buddha Land is built according to the sentient beings that you convert. The more people you are able to gather into your Buddha field, they make up the Buddha land you're trying to build. The Buddha says the Bodhisattvas acquire the Buddha lands according to the sentient beings they discipline. They acquire the Buddha lands according to what country sentient beings need to enter into the Buddha's wisdom. And they acquire the Buddha lands according to what country sentient beings need to generate the roots for becoming bodhisattvas. So you don't create a Buddha land for yourself. It's not you go out and you say, I want this kind of Buddha land. I want this kind of Buddha land. That's not how you build a Buddha land. You build a Buddha land thinking about what sentient beings need. Which means when you hold the 5 precepts, when you we'll run through the list of all the practices that you can do to generate a Buddha land, because the Buddha teaches us how. When you hold all these practices, like right now, when you are going out, when you think to yourself that you want to end up in the Pure Land, or you want to be a Buddhist, you want to be a Shufu's disciple, who are you doing it for? Are you just doing it for yourself and have your own personal Buddha land, no other people invited? Or are you holding your practice on behalf of living beings? Because that would be the Mahayana path. Okay, so how do you see your practice? Are you holding your practice on behalf of living beings, or are you not? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so the Buddha says, why is this? After the Buddha said all those things, the Buddha said, why is this? The Buddha continues, he says, because Bodhisattva's acquisition of the pure countries or pure land is entirely for the benefit of sentient beings. It is like a man who wants to build a palace on empty land, who is able to build it according to his wish without hindrance. He would never be able to build it in space. Bodhisattvas are like this. In order to accomplish the saving or salvation of sentient beings, they vow to acquire the Buddha countries or create a Buddha land, a pure land. The vow to acquire a Buddha land is not done in empty space. So basically, what the Buddha is saying is in Mahayana, everything that we do, even the practices that you're doing right now, the mantras you recite when you bow and all that, you should not be doing it for yourself. You should be doing it on behalf of sentient beings. Okay, so that's what the Buddha is trying to say. Okay, let me close one of my windows so I don't get any more of that sound. Okay. And then Buddha says, the vow to acquire Buddha land is not done in empty space. What does that mean? Well, it requires hard work. It's not just wishing and making vows, but not allowing those vows to transform who you are to be a better person. You know, it's hard work to do that. So you have to put your how you say allow the practices to go into action in transforming the way you think, the way you act, and the way you speak. Okay. So this power of the Mahayana, which is the to become a Buddha, to walk the Bodhisattva path, to become a Buddha, is missing in the vehicle of sound hearers, or in the Arhat vehicle, or in the Pali canon, and in the vehicle of Prachika Buddhas, because they don't have this wish to save living beings. They think that it is the commonly held view is that to save living beings is too hard. And from one perspective, it's kind of true to say that, but it's not entirely accurate because it's not the whole picture. So why I say power of the Mahayana is because when you are not selfish, when you are not thinking of yourself, and when you have the well-being of other people as your intention, practice becomes a lot easier, which is why the Bodhisattva path and achieving Buddhahood is doable. It's not impossible, or you don't say it takes too long, because the whatever apprehensions that you have are overcome. Okay, what do I mean by this? Okay, I think I've shared this idea before. If you heard it, good. Think of it again. Okay, I've done fasting when I first went to CDTB. I call it stupid fasting because I didn't know what I was doing. I thought just by not eating, it would give me some, I don't know, some special insight if I meditated. But it was funny because I never meditated I wasn't meditating at that time. So it just shows you how much I knew then. So I first went to CDTB, I wanted to fast, and I fasted for 4 days. I spoke to a monk, asked him how, he gave me some advice. And so I didn't eat for 4 days. And if you ask me how my experience was, I would say, well, I felt really weak. It was summer, but summers in California are really hot, especially at CDTB. It's a lot hotter than Malaysia. And despite the heat, my hands and feet were always cold the whole day. They felt cold because I didn't have any energy. When you bow and you stand up, you feel like fainting. And then when you walk too fast, also you feel like fainting. What else? Your stomach doesn't feel good. It feels empty, and you're thinking about food all the time. All the time, you just want to eat. You're just thinking about food. So if you ask me how I felt, I would have said, yeah, I felt pretty miserable. It was like suffering. Now, okay, let's change the conditions a bit. Okay, because I want you to understand the power of Mahayana, which is putting, having the wish to save all living beings. What does that mean? Okay. Now imagine you, for yourself, okay, you have this magic backpack. It's a magic bag that you carry. Why is it magic? Because when you reach into the bag, whatever you bring out is the exact thing that you want to eat. Just like in Ashobhya Buddha's Pure Land. Okay, whatever you want to eat, it just appears in front of you. So it's a magic bag. Okay. So you're hungry and you want to eat, you reach into the bag and you bring out, say, oh, this is exactly what I want right now. But right in front of you, you notice that there's either an animal or a person who hasn't eaten for a long time. And when you look at a person, you get the feeling that, oh, if this person doesn't eat, like today, they may not survive. So what would any decent human being do? You would probably give your food away. You would, to this person. So then you continue on your journey, and then you remember that you're hungry. Again, you put your hand into your bag, and miraculously out comes the exact thing that you were thinking about. It's like, yeah, I'm really going to enjoy this. But right in front of you again, you realize is a family or someone else who definitely needs the food more than you do. Okay. I don't think any decent person will be able to eat in front of these people, right? So what would you do? You would give your food away again. And, then you go on your journey again. And imagine for 4 days, every time you wanted to eat, you realize that in this world or where you are, there are people who are in more suffering than you are, and that they need your help. So you're continuously giving away. Every time you remember that you're hungry, there's someone there who needs the food more than you do, and you give your food away. So after 4 days, this happens. If it was me and someone asked me how would I feel, I would say, oh, my hands and feet are cold, because I know what hunger is like for 4 days. I know what it's like not eating, so I can tell you how it feels like. I'll tell you I feel lightheaded. If when I bow to the Buddha and I can't stand up too quickly because I might faint. I see stars, and my hands and feet are cold. My stomach hurts, and I'm thinking about food all the time. But if someone were to ask you, but how do you feel inside? I'm not talking about your physical, your body. I'm talking about your heart. How do you feel inside? How does your heart feel? Are you happy? Are you suffering? So to me, that highlights the power of Mahayana, which is when you do something to help other living beings because you really care for them, you really care for their well-being, it becomes easier to do all these things that if, how you say, if when compared to say when you're doing it for yourself, you just do what you feel is comfortable for yourself. So there's no reason to come up from your comfort zone. But when you do it on behalf of living beings, that it is a lot easier, or I would say even natural, to bring out the best in you, your potential. You realize your strength, your potential in ways that you would never have seen if you were just doing it for yourself. Okay, so to me, that's the power of Mahayana. All right, so let's continue. Any questions? Have I confused anyone? Okay, I'm not suggesting anyone go fast. Okay, no, not that either. Okay, so how do we build our pure land? Okay, when this lecture is over and you start thinking about other things, when you have to speak to someone, when you have to use your body, when you have to interact with someone or with your own mind, what do you do now that you know you're carrying your Buddha feel with you? Okay, this is what the Buddha has to say. Buddha says, dual accumulation, which is the elder son that he's speaking to, says you should understand that sincerity is the Bodhisattva's pure land. When the Bodhisattva attains Buddhahood, it is sentient beings who do not flatter and lie that come to be born in this country. Okay, so number one, be sincere. Don't flatter and don't lie, so that these beings can come into your pure land. Okay, what's the second one? A profound mind is the Bodhisattva's pure land. When a Bodhisattva attains Buddhahood, it is sentient beings who are complete in merit that come to be born in his country. Okay, so I hope you are taking notes. If not, go back when this gets uploaded to YouTube. Come visit these slides again. Okay, next slide. Buddha says the mind of Bodhi, or the intention to achieve perfect enlightenment, is the Bodhisattva's pure land. When the Bodhisattva achieves Buddhahood, sentient beings of the Mahayana come to be born in his country. Okay, so if you are a Mahayana sentient being, it means that you must have, or you must generate the intention to achieve perfect enlightenment or want to become a Buddha, in other words. Okay. Charity, or dana, or generosity, is the Bodhisattva's pure land. All sentient beings capable of renunciation, to let go of things, come to be born in this country. Okay. Morality, or maintaining the precepts, is the Bodhisattva's pure land. When the Bodhisattva achieves Buddhahood, sentient beings who have fulfilled their vows to practice the path of the 10 types of good come to be born in this country. Okay, what are the 10 types of good? Let me put, how you say? It's in my notes. Let me look for it in the next few slides. Okay. Forbearance, or patience, is the Bodhisattva's pure land. When the Bodhisattvas achieve Buddhahood, sentient beings who have ornamented themselves with the 32 marks of a Buddha come to be born in this country. What is this? Oh, yeah, it reminds me. I'm supposed to do the 32 hallmarks of a Buddha at the end of every class, which I have not really been doing. Let's do that today. Um, Here, the Buddha is saying that forbearance or patience is one of the key attributes that you need in order to perform all the difficult deeds that a bodhisattva undergoes. But we know it's not that difficult, because if you really care for the people around you, like say your parents, your teachers, your elders, your friends, your partners, your children, being able to do things on their behalf comes naturally, you know. So having, it's easier to develop patience, and then you just start from there. You start from the people that you care for, and then you slowly develop your field, your Buddha Kshetra, your Buddha field, to include other people as well. Okay. And the Buddha continues saying, exertion is the Bodhisattva's pure land. When the Bodhisattva achieves Buddhahood, sentient beings who have energetically cultivated all the types of merit come to be born in this country. Okay, let's move on. Meditation, or dhyana, is the Bodhisattva's pure land. When the Bodhisattva achieves Buddhahood, sentient beings who control their minds and keep them undisturbed come to be born in his country. Wisdom is the Bodhisattva's pure land. When the Bodhisattva achieves Buddhahood, sentient beings who have achieved correct concentration come to be born in this country. So basically, the Buddha here is not just giving out a list of things that you should be paying attention to, as we are all building our pure lands. We're all building our pure lands, we're just not aware of it. Okay. Is that you're not just doing it for yourself. Okay. You are doing it for sentient beings, for people that you care for. Okay. Again, I want to repeat this. Our attitude in Mahayana towards our practice, towards the things that we do, should be that we are doing it on behalf of all living beings. So that's why the sutras always say you start with the people that you already care for, like, like the Buddhas, your teachers, your elders, your parents. Who is it that brings out the best in you already in a very natural way, like your grandparents or your children? And then you investigate how that happens inside yourself. Why is it that for, say, your grandmother, you can be so patient, you can be so loving, so caring, and tolerate all kinds of whatever nonsense, if there's any, but you can't do it for someone else? So that's where the practice is. You find out what it is in your mind that you apply to your grandmother that makes you such a great person, that makes you so happy to be able to do all those things. And then through that investigation, you look at how you treat other people and your shortcomings in those areas. And then you learn in those areas where you're already at your best, like say with your grandmother, assuming that you have a really nice grandmother, and then you apply that to the people that you have difficulties with. And then slowly your Buddha field will get bigger and bigger, and you can include more and more living beings. Okay, got that clear? Okay, let's continue with the Buddha's instructions. The 4 unlimited states of mind, what are those? The Brahma Viharas. If you look down, it is sympathy, uh, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Okay, what it is? It is loving kindness or metta. I just copy and pasted this from the sutra. So it's loving kindness. What is loving kindness? Loving kindness is there are 2 parts to loving kindness. Number 1 is the ability to see the goodness in yourself. You generate confidence, and because you see the goodness in yourself and you see the potential in yourself, you're able to feel good about yourself. And then when you're able to feel good about yourself, you extend well wishes and loving kindness to as many beings in your circle as much as possible. And then compassion is the wish that all living beings are free from suffering. And then what's the exact term? Sympathetic joy is the when beings are happy, you rejoice in the happiness. So you don't have any jealousy or any envy. So your neighbor buys a Mercedes, instead of getting jealous or instead of wanting your own Mercedes, you are happy for them. Say, oh, my neighbor is how you say, gets to ride in a luxury car, and they're so comfortable. Oh, I'm so happy for them. That kind. And then equanimity is the balancing act to all of this, to make sure you don't go to extremes, to make sure that in all your emotions you're always tempered with wisdom and you stay grounded, so that you don't get overcome by emotion. All right, let's go on to the next slide. The Buddha says the 4 means of attraction are the Bodhisattva's pure land. What are the 4 means of attraction? These are the 4 tools that a bodhisattva has in order to convert living beings. What are they? They are giving or generosity, kind speech, helping others or teaching others fulfill their goals and aims, and acting according to their own teachings, meaning there's a consistency between what they say and what they do. Okay, they're not hypocrites. They don't say one thing but do something else. Okay, and then for today we'll stop here at this slide. The next one is skillful means. Skillful means are the bodhisattvas pure land. What are skillful means? Meaning, when the Buddha practices the 4 means of attraction, the Buddha understands how much of each to use to a particular person based on their conditions. So for someone that might need a bit of scolding, the Bodhisattva might scold you. Someone who needs a bit of praise, the Bodhisattva might praise them, depending on that person's conditions, who that person is, their personality, their ability to understand the teachings and to put it into practice, and at what level the Bodhisattva knows all this and uses it to be skillful. Okay. All right. So we have 5 minutes left. Any other questions? Let me read the chat box while I wait. Okay. So Ron, your question, which is why are there 9 grades in the Pure Land? I think it is Amitabha Buddha made that happen so that he can accommodate as many people as he could. Yeah. So it's not saying only this category of people, but rather, even if you think that your practice is lacking, that there's still a place for you, that you can still get to Amitabha's Pure Land. All right. Okay. So let me let me find out where is my 32 hallmarks. I totally forgot about 32 hallmarks. Okay. Hallmarks PDF. Okay, right here. Okay, on your screen. And let me get the explanation up. Okay, so we are on hallmark number 19, which says says that the Buddha has an upper torso like that of a royal lion. What is that? It means very broad shoulders. You have full broad shoulders and a waist that is slender. So like a lion is very majestic. Yeah. And so it's like a V shape, like a swimmer, they have a V shape from the shoulders down, tapers down to the waist. How do you get this? Well, you never look down on people. You don't humiliate them. So you treat people regardless of their status, their power, their wealth, their intelligence and all that. So you don't scold, you treat people respectfully. You never humiliate them. That means you don't scold them uh, either privately or in front of crowds. So you're using very skillful speech when you speak to them. And you don't say they are from a different religion or they have a different belief system. You don't look down on them, or you don't make them feel inferior or that they're wrong. So you get a Buddha's upper body like that of a royal lion. Okay, let's do 2 today. Okay, number 20, body erect and upright. So look at these 3 slides of the Buddha who's like perfectly straight. You can put a wall. The Buddha can be standing with his back on a wall and he's like, as straight as the wall. How does this happen? Well, if you see any living being that's about to lose their life and you try to save them, you will get this. Yeah. So saving, say any living beings about to be harmed and you save them, is a literal way of saying that you use any means to help any living beings that's undergoing any form of suffering. Yeah, that will be a bit more accurate. So if you're bowing the 10,000 Buddhas repentance, if you look at your screen, you see 2,000 bows there. At 2,000 bows, this is the praise to the Buddha that you recite. Yeah. Okay, so it's time. Do you have any questions? Hilda, your mic is unmute. Do you have something you want to share? Okay, I guess not. Okay, so we'll come back next week and we will continue on what the Buddha has for us in terms of in our practice. Okay, so a whole new way, if you haven't known of this before, in looking at your practice, is you're all creating your Buddha fields right now. Okay.
Hi.
Yes, Hilda.
I just wanted to let you all know that I moved to Sacramento. I am in California now.
Oh,
And yeah, this whole part of the end of the year and the beginning of this year, I was just moving and I am very happy to be in Northern California.
So you were in New York, right? Or was it? Were you in the at DC, at the capital?
I was in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay. Is it crazy there? Are people okay given what's been happening?
It's usually, like I would say in one word, people or two words, more caffeinated.
Okay. More
So
caffeine.
yes, it's a more hyper over there than in the West Coast.
Okay. So Sacramento is a lot more how you say, calm, I hope.
It's incredibly more calm. First of all, the sky is in display. You go outside and you see half of the hemisphere. You just so you get to have a more contact with nature. So I think it goes within the minds of everyone in such a way that people are more calm. When there's more sky, and I see less traffic as well.
Also, we have GCDR. GCDR is in Sacramento.
Exactly. CDR is in Sacramento and Ukiah is
That
2
CDR,
hours and a
sorry.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah, CDR is only about 30 minutes from the place I am. And then I will be able to go maybe on weekends to Ukiah because it's 2 hours and a half.
Yeah, when they open their doors. Right now they're closed.
Right, right.
Okay.
And I
Yes.
relocated, just relocated from the same job. So I know the job because I already have been doing it.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank
Good.
you.
We're happy for you. Okay, so we're going to dedicate merit. Okay, everyone ready? I'm going to put my palms together. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, so we are going to make 3 bows to the Buddha and then to Shufu. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Bowing respect to the Venerable Master. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Okay, everyone. Hopefully you have some questions for next week, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.